get out of that spiral of listening to it. Mom and Dad, if you're listening, just stop
what do we
listening.
Listen to then?
Yeah.
What is the perfect bite? That mix of flavors, textures, colors, and aromas that come together in one amazing amuse-bouche. Big ideas expressed in small bites. That's our podcast, a variety of inspiring topics to make your financial goals and dreams a reality.
Brought to you by Clark County Credit Union for your weekly serving of food reviews, financial education, and life hacks that your future self will appreciate. It's the perfect bite of interesting information to start your week. Welcome to episode 94 of The Perfect Bite. I'm Crystal Price.
And I'm Shannon Hiller. Let's dig in.
We love trying new dishes here at The Perfect Bite, and now we want to eat all of our meals at Esther's Kitchen. Next, we'll talk about why our credit scores go up and down, and finally, we'll learn how to disagree better, especially during this upcoming political season.
Each week on The Perfect Bite, we visit a locally owned Southern Nevada restaurant we hope you will try and will become your new favorite too. Esther's Kitchen in downtown Las Vegas is an Italian restaurant known for its homemade sourdough, delicious pasta dishes, plus some creative salads. It was founded by Chef James Trees, and this is his hometown. So he decided to open his restaurant here in Las Vegas, named for his great aunt who inspired and fostered his passion to cook food for his family. And they recently opened a new location. I actually went for the second time, walked up to the door of where I thought Esther's Kitchen was, and then it was locked, and I was like,
oh,
no. But the sign says, just walk a few feet. Don't worry, you're close. You just go around the corner. It's a much larger location. It's a beautiful venue inside. Very, I don't know, hipster, artsy, just a cool environment. I was like, okay, you're cool enough to come in here. Like, you're fine. Go in there. I just love it. They have great food.
Where's that?
It's right off Main Street in the Arts District.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the one thing they're really known for is their sourdough, and you can also get it with different spreads. So they'll bring you butter and olive oil. I asked for balsamic vinegar too, but you also can get basil ricotta, beaten capers spread, burrata with chives, and there's just like 5 or 6 options. You can get your sourdough with like 1 spread, 3, or all of them if you wanted to just have like a sourdough fest and like make that your meal. It was really good. My friends ordered the homemade pasta, which they're making on site. It looked amazing. I got the Tuscan black kale salad with chicken. The chicken's cooked with basil and chili, and it was about $20. I like when I find salads or things that have kind of unique ingredients. So this had pickled golden raisins. I'm like, never tried that before, but I like things that are pickled, so let's get it. Yeah. And they just had this like really tangy, sweet flavor. It was good. And then pine nuts as well. Kale isn't sometimes always my favorite, but they did it really like a chopped really fine. Mm-hmm. So it was easier to eat. Just a lot of really great textures and flavors. They also, at this new location, they have a pizza oven. And so they have sourdough pizza, and they say it takes like 3 days to make the dough. Gosh. And so that's got to be good. I think next time I will try a pizza. They have really interesting flavors. Brussels and potato with truffle. I'm like, okay, sounds gourmet. And then a duck pizza. And also, if you just want cheese, there's margarita. Or there's a sausage with sweet peppers and orange fennel jam. And I think I'll probably get that one, actually.
That one, probably.
Yeah, that one sounds good. So plan ahead for parking. That's my recommendation. You only can park on the street, and you do pay at the meter. And parking can just be tough during the rush lunch. I had to park about a block away to get and walk over, but it wasn't too bad. But I was also there a little before noon, so definitely plan ahead to give yourself time to walk. If you have a recommendation for a restaurant or dish for us to try, send us a message at ThePerfectBite@CCCULB.com. We would love to hear from you. Up next, we're talking about why you may notice some months your credit score goes up, while others it goes down. Tell us more, Crystal.
Understanding why your credit score goes up and down is crucial for maintaining good financial health and a vital piece for getting approved for a loan. In this episode, we're going to break down the common factors that affect credit scores and some tips to help increase your credit score. So it's kind of like a pie chart. The first big piece of that pie is the payment history, and that accounts for 35%. And the way that works is it's your payment history. It's the most important factor in the credit profile. If you miss one payment or it's late, that may hurt your credit score. The big tip is that You want to try to have several different types of debts. For example, if you have all credit cards, that's not going to really do you too much of a benefit. But if you have like a credit card, an auto loan, a mortgage, you're going to have a better credit score. So try giving some variety to your credit score. And then also to try to help make sure your payment history is getting the best benefit, you want to try to automate your payments. So set up automatic payments if you can. Either have it automatically come from your account or set it up through the loan itself to automatically pull from your account. Because if you have a late payment, that can bring your score down. And that's, like I said, the highest part of that pie. The next big chunk of the pie is your credit utilization ratio, and that is 30%. And that is how much of your credit you're utilizing. So if you have a $1,000 credit limit, it's best to keep your balances under $200 or $300, so about 30% of your credit used. If you can keep it even lower, then you'll get an even better utilization score. So try not to use your credit. One tip is if you find yourself getting near that $1,000 credit limit, you can go to your lender and maybe see if you can get an increase on that if you are unable to pay down the debt. So that can also be an alternative.
Good tip. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the next chunk of the pie is your credit history length at 15%. So in general, you want to keep a longer credit history. The higher credit your score will be, the longer you have those credit cards or your auto loan open. If you have something open for 1 year versus a 20-year item, that 20-year item is going to give you a better credit score. If you decide maybe you have too many credit cards open and you want to start closing some credit cards, opt to close the ones you've had open for a shorter period of time versus the ones you've had for the longer period of time. Like I said, the longer the history, the better the score. Because the longer that you have the credit open, it shows how responsible you are with maintaining a good credit history and good repayment on those cards or that loan. The next item on the pie is your type of credit, and that's 10%. So I kind of mentioned this before. So having a variety of credit helps to improve your score as well, along with the late payments and things like that. It also shows that you're able to manage different types of credit, whether it's secured or unsecured. Secured items would be things like auto loans, mortgages, which are secured by a piece of collateral. Unsecured would be credit cards or loans that are not secured by anything except for your signature on the loan agreement. And then finally, the last piece of the pie, 10%, is the number of new credit lines opened. So it's worth taking note that having multiple credit card inquiries poses a big risk when you're getting new loans with a company. So if you are applying for new credit, you want to make sure it's truly something that you need and you're not just going out to, say, Sephora or to JCPenney or wherever you're at and just applying for a card to get that 10% off of your purchase. Only get it if you actually need it. Now we're going to take a break to hear from our sponsor.
CCCU has a bonus for you. High five! It's 5% interest on a bonus checking account, only available at Clark County Credit Union. That's 5% on your money, and it's just one more benefit of membership at Clark County Credit Union. Isn't it time for you to join? Anyone can be a member, because if somebody's making money off your checking account, shouldn't it be you? Open a bonus checking account today and start earning your 5%, only at CCCU. Funds privately insured by American Share Insurance.
Chances are you just avoid talking about politics like I do with my friends and family, because some people just really love to debate and I do not. And same with my family. I'm just like, that's great. Like, I just don't want to talk about it. But that's going to be harder and harder as we come up on this presidential election. And I don't know about you, but I'm already getting all the text messages and phone calls about the candidates. So does politics come up at your house, Crystal, or do you guys manage to avoid it?
They do, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know where I stand, and let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I just heard once, no one's ever really changed their mind based on someone arguing with you. Like, that's just not a way to really foster a healthy discussion. So when I heard about Utah's Governor Cox, he's leading an initiative to teach people that it's okay to not agree, but just do it right. And he's actually calling it like how to disagree better.
Okay.
And it was just fascinating to me because it's like, yeah, we acknowledge we don't agree, but let's be civil about it and find some tips to do it a little bit better. So Basically, he's the chair right now of the National Governors Association. And typically the chair would choose a topic like energy or healthcare to really like push for the whole year. He said, you know what, we cannot accomplish any of those big initiatives if we cannot work together across the aisle from these two different political parties to solve these big problems if we all hate each other. So that's
Smart
not,
guy.
yeah, that's not going to help. So in February, when they had their national meeting, he took his fellow governors through these discussions about how to reduce animosity and foster healthy debate and just be more positive and optimistic and look for things they have in common or that they can both support. And in one of his statements, he said, Americans need to disagree better. And by that, we don't mean that we need to be nicer to each other, although that's helpful. We need to learn to disagree in a way that allows us to find solutions and solve problems instead of endlessly bickering. And he said an exhausted majority of Americans want this. And the science is clear about interventions that reduce polarization. So yeah, we're all just sort of sick of it. And the campaigns get kind of more negative and negative every year. And it's just makes me just, I don't know.
I want to like to fight. Then those people are like, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not me.
I don't like to do that. So basically this whole initiative for the year is to try to get these other governors to take back to their states similar ideas about public debates, service projects, which I thought was really cool because we do a lot of service and volunteer work here at the credit union. And so if you serve alongside someone helping others, chances are you're going to find things that you have in common with them. And just finding a way for Americans to see a more positive and optimistic way of working through our problems. So according to research from the Pew Research Center, Americans are much more politically polarized now than 50 years ago. And they kind of asked, what is that? What is that reason? So in Governor Cox's TED Talk that he gave on this topic, he was running for governor in 2020. And when he gave his speech, he showed a video that he made with the Democratic nominee, Chris Peterson. They made a video together talking about how they would basically share their commitment to shared values and mutual respect and just working towards helping Utah in general. And that was just so unheard of that two opposing political candidates would actually come together and talk about how much they respected each other. And just the whole TED crowd, like 2,000 people, like erupted in applause. That's just never happening. No one's like that. So how do we do that? How do we disagree better? He has talked in his TED Talk about 4 steps that he encourages all Americans to try. Number 1, spend less time with polarizing headlines that pit one side of the country against the other. Our media, it's no longer impartial. There's definitely are you listening to this radio station or you're watching that TV show? You know which one they're favoring, which political party. So get out of that spiral of listening to it. Mom and Dad, if you're listening, just stop
what do we
listening.
Listen to then?
Yeah, because that's all you talk about now. It's like you're just focused on that. I don't know. I'm not going to make a suggestion of what you should listen to, but if it feels like...
Just listen to The Perfect Bite. Yeah.
Only The Perfect Bite. Number 2, spend more time with people who think differently than you because it's harder to hate up close. Thought that was really great. If you know someone and you know that they love their kids and they support their wife and they volunteer and they're the opposite political party from you, that's like not even the biggest factor, right? In the whole situation. And you can see the commonalities that you have together. Number 3, expend more effort serving and giving back to society. So right back up with that. If we do service, we see people in different situations than we're in, and we ultimately, I think, want to just help people and not fight about politics. And number 4, attempt to develop the classical political virtues of humility, patience, and moderation. The really cool thing is this is taking off. Different governors have taken it back to their states. I found a ton of media coverage on this. And the Supreme Court even shared how they disagree better. And you're like, okay, if the Supreme Court, who pretty much battles with each other every day, it just sort of makes you think if they can do it, then my family around the dinner table probably can too. So we'll put a link in the show notes to more information about the How to Disagree Better initiative. And as you're approaching, political discussions with your family and friends, maybe consider taking these 4 steps.
We want to hear from you. Send us your financial questions or money topics that you'd like to learn more about, and don't forget any fun local food recommendations. Our email is theperfectbite@ccculv.com.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode brought to you by Clark County Credit Union. For additional money management tips and financial calculators, check out our website at ccculb.org. Now that was the perfect bite.